Hyrule has always been destined with the hero. Whenever the land is in danger, a reincarnation of the hero's spirit, Link, will be there to face it. But what about worlds other than Hyrule? Are they destined to the same fate, for a hero to come save its land when needed? Lorule is a great example of this scenario, a world that is parallel to Hyrule, and when faced with evil, needed a hero. But unlike Hyrule, it was destined with no hero from its land to show up when needed, leaving Hyrule's hero, Link, to traverse between worlds and save its land along with Hyrule. But I mean, if Lorule is supposed to be a mirror of Hyrule, where was its hero? From the beginning of Link's adventure in A Link Between Worlds, Link meets Lorule's hero without knowing. He finds Link passed out in the sanctuary after his first attempt to face Yuga. He decides to take Link back to his house in order to rest, claiming he had no idea it was actually Link's house. After awakening him with a nice surprise, he compliments Link for trying to face Yuga, calling him a real, live, genuine hero. Something he clearly isn't. He helps Link by giving him his bracelet and letting him borrow any weapons when needed, at the exchange of staying in his home. This being Ravio, a man in a bunny mask. He's a mysterious person who appears out of nowhere but knows all about Link. Link, being way too trusting for his own good, lets this man open up shop and use his weapons when needed to save the sages of Hyrule. But have you ever wondered where this mysterious masked rabbit person obtained such weapons? Like, these weapons were created specifically for Hyrule's hero to overcome the journey ahead of him. Why does a random person like Ravio carry them? Well, like mentioned earlier, it may be because he was also destined to use these weapons, but is too afraid. So instead, he is there to help Link by having him use them instead. So for a guy who is in need of help, he's a bit greedy if you ask me. But outside of lending Link weapons, Ravio may be the key reason in why Link was given another chance, as Ravio let Link use his power bracelet, which turns Link into a painting. This being what saved Link from Yuga's trap during their second encounter, allowing him to break free from his painted curse and escape. So if Link didn't have the bracelet, he would have been done for from the very first dungeon. The bracelet also gave Link access to both worlds, letting him be the link between worlds, traveling from Hyrule to Lorule with the bracelet's power. So in general, without Ravio, Link would have been screwed from the very beginning. And it makes sense why, because Ravio was meant to be Lorule's hero. He is Link's counterpart. But in a world that is a mirror to Hyrule's, he lacks the courage that Link has, which is why Lorule was doomed from the very start. It had a hero with no courage, causing him to seek a hero that has it. But in reality, without Lorule's supposed hero, Lorule would have never had an actual hero to save it. They needed Ravio to seek Link, making them both heroes, just in different ways. Ravio is supposed to be the opposite of Link. Instead of a noble warrior who will risk it all for anyone, he is a greedy coward that is too afraid to do anything himself. But can we blame him? Link is supposed to be one of a kind. He's the reincarnation of Hyrule's legendary hero that saved the land again and again. Ravio is not. He lives a life parallel to Link, with his home being in the exact same location as Link's, but in Lorule, which explains why he found Link's place so easily. And in his now vacant house, you can read his diary before the events of him going to seek out Link. It tells of the issues Lorule faced and how he was too afraid to do anything, so he set out to find a hero in his place. Though the diary could only be found in your hero mode playthrough. In these notes, he explains how Hilda was duped by Yuga, and while he was aware of Yuga's true intentions, he was unable to convince her, causing Princess Hilda to be corrupt by Yuga, this leaving Ravio with no other hope but to seek help in another world. And with the very bit of magic he had left, he sets out to Hyrule with the possibility of not being able to return back home. While his plan wasn't the most heroic, deciding to seek help elsewhere instead of face it himself, you have to admire the bit of courage it took to leap into another world with no chances of return. So his efforts, while cowardly, were needed for both Hyrule and Lorule's fate, Ravio being the tool needed for the hero Link, with Link literally utilizing his tools to overcome said evil. And while he hides his identity from Link using a bunny mask, he gains the courage to reveal himself at the very end of their journey, explaining why no hero showed up and that they needed Link. This was probably one of the biggest plot twists in all of the series for me. It honestly blew me away the first time I played the game, to think that Link had a counterpart that was in Link's house the whole time, helping Link with every step of the way. It explained why there were counterparts to every single character, even down to the princess, with it being Princess Hilda, but there was no sign of Link's counterpart. I personally thought since he was missing, it's why they needed Link. Comes out his counterpart was in front of him from the very beginning, both needing each other to face the evil threatening their lands. So you could say Lorule always had a hero, just without courage. A Link Between Worlds was the first Zelda game to encourage the player to take on each dungeon in their own order. With the help of Ravio's weapons, the player was able to choose whatever they want to tackle next. This mechanic gave so much freedom to the game. It was unlike any other Zelda game up until Breath of the Wild. And that was an entirely other game changer. But with the Link Between Worlds, it was still unlike any other traditional Zelda game where you found the items in the temple. You had already had them before leaving your house, so when you'd set out on the dungeon, you had the item with you to help you from the very beginning. The Ravio could snatch the item back from you upon death, causing Link to repurchase them. But while renting is how you acquire each weapon at first, they can later be purchased for good for a much higher price, and then later upgraded thanks to the Mai-Mais. But overall, his concept brings a fresh take to the series, and it's crazy to think that it was another version of Link behind that mask. Luckily, with his effort, and more effort going to Link, they are able to prevail and even his kingdom gets saved, making him one of the heroes of his land. A heroic but also cowardly tale unlike any other tale told in Hyrule, it being the tale of Lorule. Ravio is unlike any other concept we've seen. He's based around Hyrule's hero, but isn't. Looking identical to him, but with darker hair. It would be amazing to see Nintendo explore further into his story, or have more references to him. After all, he is meant to be Link in some way. Though I am glad that Nintendo did reference him in Breath of the Wild with his mask being featured in the game, and also being a playable character in Hyrule Warriors. But what do you guys think of Ravio? And alongside Ravio, what do you think of Lorule? Would you like to see these worlds explored further in future games? Personally, I would have loved for Nintendo to add more backstory in his diary, or even have it to where you can play as Ravio's character model in hero mode. Overall, I think he's such an interesting character and I'd love to see more of him within the series. But anyways, that about does it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like. And let me know if there are any other characters you feel like that aren't given it enough love within the series that you'd like for me to make a video on. I'd love to shine light on certain characters that I feel like don't get enough attention within the series. Anyways, if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and thank you all for watching. I've been ZeldaMaster, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!